All right, so today we're going to talk about what is one of the man's biggest desires in relationship, and that if he has, he's never going to want to leave. But if he doesn't have, he may never feel fully fulfilled in that relationship. So, I am Krista Riddick, the founder of Finding Real Love Now, where I help women to become the most delicious, irresistible invitation to the love life they truly desire. And today we're going to talk about the number one or one of the top things that if your man has in this relationship, he's never going to want to leave. All right. And that thing is, and we're also going to talk about the 7 ways to give it. And that thing is respect. Now, I know that for me, I didn't even know what that was. Like, even hearing that, I'm like, oh, well, of course I respect him. But when I go deep into each one of these ways to respect him, if we're being honest, there might be a place where we're all falling short. Hopefully, you're doing better than I was when I first learned this. And so I want to share this words of wisdom with you, and something that even my husband, when I upgraded the level, he went, oh my gosh, I didn't even know how much I needed that. And I thought our marriage was good before. So this was a huge eye opener for me. And I just want to share it with you because they don't teach this crap in schools. All right. So the first one is R. And I spelled out respect because let's give a little shout out to Aretha Franklin. And I think that's who sang it. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. Um, but we're going to go ahead and go RESPECT. And this is what it means to me, right? And the funny thing about that song, just a little funny tidbit, is that that song was actually written by a man, and it never became famous by a man. It was launched by a woman because when men ask for it, it feels wrong, right? Anyway, so hopefully we're in a place where we can truly appreciate how much men need this. Like in the level of values, for a woman, being loved and adored and like all those things, being loved is one of their top values for a lot of women, and in relationship, of course. And for men, one of their top values, even above love, is respect. For most men, this is the actual top value, especially a high caliber man that is truly a leader and serving his family and his person. So let's talk about that. All right, so R is for relating to him. And when I go through each one of these 7, I'm also going to go through the different phases of relationship and how this applies. So number 1, when we're relating to a man, it's different than relating to a woman. Men, a lot of men, if they grew up with sports or even video games, they are shoulder to shoulder or they're online. So they're not, some will feel more comfortable in text than they will actually on a phone call. And that's for your younger generation. Some will feel, so just notice how are they comfortable relating. That doesn't mean you can't challenge him to relate more your way. Just noticing what is actually comfortable for him, what he's used to. And that, like, again, doesn't mean you can't ask for or challenge him a little bit to invite him to come play in a different way of relating. But their natural way is shoulder to shoulder, or for the younger generation, online. Um, so they relate so much better. And I even watched this video that was so fascinating about the science of when you come in for a first date. So we'll talk about phase 1. And this is in the first dating phases. So phase 1, first dating phases, like first dates before you get into a committed relationship. Phase 2 is the committed relationship, and phase 3 is your lifelong partner. So in phase 1, how you relate to your man, if you're coming in for a date and if you're sitting at a square or round table, sit more next to him than straight across from him. Only if that's comfortable for you, of course, honor your truth, but that's going to be more comfortable for him. And again, whatever you're comfortable with. Then also relate to his interests, relate to asking him questions about what are you passionate about? And then listen. This is such a great strategy for us to get to know this guy and decide whether or not he's a good fit for what you're looking for. And, how else are you going to know? So relate to him that way. In phase 2, relating to him looks a little bit different. How can you relate to his interests? How can you relate to his passions, his stuff? How do you make sure that, a lot of times guys will go out of their way to do all the stuff we want to do. Well, when you're in a committed relationship, make sure you're doing stuff that he wants to do too. Make sure if he wants to go to a ball game, see if he wants you to come. Maybe that's his guy stuff, and guys need guy time too. And then in phase 3, in that committed relationship, or phase 2, or 2 and 3 are very similar in this one. Relating to him means showing interest in what he's interested in, and make sure shoulder to shoulder. If there's a serious conversation, a lot of times men are better with shoulder to shoulder. Like they're better if they can go for a walk and then talk about it, or if they can go for a drive and then talk about it. They're not good at intimate conversations usually. Now they can become comfortable, and the more aware of a man you're with, the better that he's going to be at those things. But these don't come naturally to them. So just give a little grace in those things. All right. So shoulder to shoulder. If my husband has a stressful day, I know one of the best things, we go for a walk and he can talk about it and he can unload. And I can just be that sounding board, no advice. All right. So that's how we relate. E is for edify. And I love this word because it has two meanings, but they're two very different sides to the same sword. All right. One, you can cut through all the crap and be closer to him, and two, you can build the crap. So anyway, you decide. Number 1, to edify, the definition means to build up and strengthen. And I loved that, to promote him. So as the dating phase in phase 1, that means to just ask him, what are you passionate about? And find something you like about him. So finding something, like when he's sharing something that he's passionate about, as we've talked about in relating, when he shares that, go, find something you like about him, whether it's, oh, I like that you're such a sharp dresser. I really like that about you. Like, I can tell you really care about your appearance. Those are such nice shoes. Something. My dad always said, find something you like about somebody before you can ever find something negative about somebody. And that was such a huge life lesson. So I'm giving it to you. Always find at least one thing that you genuinely like about a person, even if it's the color of their shoes, and compliment them on that. And this will help you, because the more that you build this muscle to compliment them and give them kudos, these are genuine compliments. This is something I actually genuinely like about you. The more that you're going to strengthen that muscle and build it for later, for the phase 2 and phase 3, so that you are building them up and promoting them. So build them up, promote them, compliment them on things that are really genuine. Oh, thank you for getting my door. That was very sweet of you. I really like that you're such a gentleman. Even if there's nothing else that you liked about the date, find that one thing first and make sure you mention it. Guys don't get enough credit for the things that they do. Even if he paid for the date, whatever it is, just find something to edify him. And even if that's not your guy, that learning and practicing edifying and looking for things, that's a muscle, and that will help you in the later chapters. So in phase 2, that's the same thing. And phase 2 and phase 3, again, are very similar in this. It is promoting him. It's promoting him at work, supporting his dreams, supporting his passions. Sometimes, depending on which chapter a man is in his life, and I'm going to share another video on that, the chapters of men's lives, and how we can best relate to them and support them in each chapter, and helping you to know whether or not, how to navigate that chapter with them, because sometimes that's hard too. And if they're in a workaholic chapter where they really are called to figure out how to support the family, and how to build this life, build this business, build this whatever, if they're in that building phase of their life, then they might be working a lot. They might be, committing a lot of time to that. So acknowledging that will be one of the best ways for you to be that invitation to also reel them in and go, hey, by the way, you might want a little time over here too. We could have some fun. We could have some connection. But you're still, even in that dating phase, you're figuring out. Now, if it's your husband and he's working too much, same thing. Acknowledge why he's working. Build him up for all the hard work that he is doing. He's doing it because he wants to provide. If we can see the sweetheart message in these things, it's really important. Um, so edify him. And one of the stories that I love, I just want to share really quickly, is this cute little, we'll call it an old wives' tale or whatever. But there's a man and a woman, and they're driving in his gorgeous sports car, and she's a beautiful woman, and and they're driving down the street, and they see this mechanic that's all dirty and grubby, and he's probably not super financially there, not any digs on, and and he goes, oh, aren't you glad you're not married to him? And she goes, oh babe, if I was married to him, he'd be the one sitting here. And I love this story. It's just a funny story, but I love this story in one aspect, that a strong woman who supports her man is an asset that will build a man up to something beyond anything he could do alone. Because when he forgets who he is, who's there to remind him? I just watched a thing about Grant Cardone's wife, and tell me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but she's gorgeous, and not that that's why he's with her, but she says kind of the same thing. She's like, you know what? A truly strong woman is there to back her husband, and if he starts to flail or anything, I got you. And that's the thing. Like, men are, told to be leaders and all this stuff, but who's got their back? And if he truly trusts you and loves you, and you're building that lifelong relationship, he wants to know you got his back, not that you're another person on his back. Now, the other definition of edify is to edit. And this one, I can tell you from personal experience, I was doing wrong for a really, really long time and still learning how to do right. I have this natural thing. I've been in business. I've had a um, successful career, and so for me, we are constant. And women, this comes natural. We look around the room and go, "What needs to be fixed or corrected or done?" That's our natural ability. It's who we are hardwired to be. But our husbands don't want a mom; they want a wife. So if we're editing them, if we're constantly telling them what to do and what not to do, and what to wear and not what to wear, my husband looks so sexy in all the clothes I put him in. All right, but don't do it. I'm still learning. All right, but to edit him, it's one of the, like, our pitfalls is make sure you're edifying him, not editing him. All right, so we'll move on to the next one, since I am nowhere near perfect on this, but I am getting better every day. And when I am good at it, my husband truly appreciates it. All right, so the next one is support, S. So support his dreams, support his passions, support just anything that he's passionate about or excited about. How can you be that support? How can you believe in his dreams just as much, if not more, than he does? Because we all have days where we forget what our dream is, or we come up against the battle. And how nice is it to have somebody that's got your back? So in phase one, how that looks, it's it's really light in that one. It's just being supportive, showing acknowledgement to something he's passionate about or excited about. It's still kind of that same edifying. Now, when you're dating, it is supporting them. It's letting them know that, hey, you don't get to stand me up, but if you need to work late one night a week, I understand that. It's, there's boundaries and there's respect, goes both ways, but make sure you're not the doormat. If he's standing you up because he's got to work late all the time, there's no reason he couldn't send you a text and tell you that he had a work emergency. And if you're graceful about that, then he should be working to make it up. So if he's not, then you kind of want to look at the caliber man you're choosing. But if you're choosing again, these are all things to do for a high caliber man, a man that is truly a guy you want to end up with. All right. So supporting him when you're together looks like supporting his dreams, supporting his passion, supporting if he needs to work late, supporting even him having guy time. Now, a true man isn't going to go and spend his guy time at the bar. He's going to go play pickleball or go play sports or do something like that, or go fishing or go four-wheeling or hunting, whatever it is. But men need those hobbies. They need that masculine. You want a masculine man, you better let him spend time with other men. As long as that other time with men is in things that are conducive for a long-term relationship. All right. So P, position him. Now, I love this one This one does not come easy. If, like me, you are a independent and fiercely independent to my own detriment, um, independent woman who you've done it all on your own. We don't always, and we've had to lead our family, and we've been single moms, and we've done these things. We've always had to make all the decisions. So sometimes this is a hard one to swallow. And I will give this preface is make sure again that you're dating a high quality or you're with a high quality caliber man. He's never going to take advantage of this. That doesn't mean not going to oversee it every once in a while, but that's not the same as taking advantage of. Taking advantage of, you know what that is. So I don't need to go more into that. Positioning him while dating in that first dating phase, that's, excuse me, what that looks like is that is going to be just letting him make some decisions, letting him pick the date, letting him, oh, this isn't, just, and then do what you can to edify that. Oh, this was an interesting restaurant, like even if it's not something you like, go, oh, tell me what it is you liked about this place. I really want to know. Even if it's not something you can't stand, it's okay. Ask him why, you know, let him pick some things. If there's, give him restrictions if there's special, eating requirements or there's things you can't eat. I have a stomach that does not like all kinds of food. It tells me perfectly well when I am eating something that I can't eat. So I have certain dietary requirements. So let him know those things. Go, hey, by the way, I know this is kind of a pain, but guess what? I don't eat these things because my stomach doesn't like me if I do, and I don't want to ruin the date. So is it okay if you pick something? Do you know of a good place? Let him make suggestions. Let him kind of lead that. And then let him lead on the, just let him lead, and that doesn't mean you step back and let him take over the whole entire thing. It just means if there's anything you can let him lead on. Another good way of doing this in the beginning phases is asking for his advice on something, or asking him how to fix something, or asking him how to do something. This is an amazing way to let him lead because it makes him feel like he's the man. He's fixing something or doing something. So then in the second phase, same thing. As you're dating, let him lead. Let him take the lead on things. Acknowledge when he plans a date, even if this is one thing that I did to my own detriment. And I'm going to tell a miserable story that I am embarrassed to tell. But two things. Number one, my husband came to me and after Christmas said, I was going to book us a trip to Bali. Now, this is one of my bucket list trips that I've been so excited about. And he goes, but I was scared to do it because, and this was a huge growth opportunity for me. I was scared to do it because I was worried that you would want to say in all the activities. Mic drop. So for me, I had to take a deep look and go, am I inviting my man to be the most masculine man, or am I have to have a say in everything, that I'm actually taking away one of the things that I would love the most in relationship and that I do love the most in relationship? I don't know about you, but for me, I love when he makes decisions. I love when he just takes the reins. I love it in all aspects of our relationship. And is there places, and this is a question for you that I ask my women in the program, is there places where your actions are getting in the way of you having the thing that you want the most? So in this positioning him, are you not allowing him to lead when what you would love the most is someone to lead, someone to take the reins, someone to take control, not in a bad way, but one of the best ways that I like to explain this, one of the things that is so valuable to me in relationship, and one of the things that was so important when I was looking for a partner, was a servant leader. And what that means to me, what that means in business or in relationship, is that he feels that responsibility for the people that are, it's not underneath him, but for the people that he is responsible for. So he feels that responsibility for me and the kids. He feels when he makes decisions, every single decision he makes goes through that filter of, I'm responsible for them. what's the best decision for us? Is he going to make some decisions that may not be the best decisions for us? Absolutely. But when I know it's gone through that filter, then I know I can trust it. So for me, then being this word submissive is so hard for me. And I know it's hard for a lot of women because there's so much, this isn't a weak thing. This is a strong thing. It has taken so much strength and wisdom for me to learn how to be submissive in a strong way that actually invites him to be masculine in the way that is so appealing. So position him as the leader. Let him make the decisions. Let him, make the big decisions and support him. Don't have to have a say in everything. Pick your battles wisely. Do you want your husband to feel like a man, or do you want that toothpaste to go to back in the cupboard, that you back in the perfect spot that you have to put it in? Decide. All right. Then E is for erect. Now, when we're talking erect, I know let's talk about the first thing that pops up. So, as we're going through the dating phase, we don't want to go into that chapter, but we can talk about that men are visual creatures, that men are visually stimulated. Now, they are so much different than us. We could fall in love with a guy that looks, that we're not physically attracted to at first, and our physical attraction will build the more that we build a connection with. But men, for the most part, are very visual creatures. And so this means that in the dating phase, you are showing up as your best self. That's not inauthentic. That is, you're showing up, you're taking that little extra to make sure that you're put together, that you are, showing up in that dress that makes you feel like $1,000,000, or that, outfit that makes you feel really, really good. Find that. I always say every woman should have a couple $1,000,000 outfits, the ones that they feel like solid gold in. And so find that outfit that you feel like solid gold in. Make sure you don't go down the spiral of judgment and all that stuff. Just and one of the things I do again with my women is anchoring in that positive stance, and you can look up anchoring. I'll teach another video on that. There's nothing I'm teaching my women that I'm not willing to teach here, because really the biggest difference of being here and being in the program is that there's an experiential part that you cannot get from learning. We're an information overload. I'm giving you massive information because these are things that have helped me and other women to make massive changes and have the relationship that they truly desire. So, okay, erect. So, number one, confidence is the sexiest thing that you can put on. Confidence and a smile. So, confidence and a smile. If you have that on, everything else, brush your teeth, brush your hair, be presentable, be clean, wear something that makes you feel as good as possible. And it does not matter your size, it doesn't matter your age. You can have confidence and a smile. And it is the sexiest thing that any woman can put on. And I will dare to, I know from personal experience that I had this girlfriend that's plus size, and we would go out and she just has this charismatic, I know I'm sexy attitude. And because she has that, men flock to her. They are waiting in line. And I was invisible at that time in my life. And the size didn't matter. It didn't matter. She just had this charisma. So that spark, that charisma, that confidence, and that smile, and that warming and welcoming, that's everything it takes. Now, erect, as we go further into the relationship, I've got a video on sex and when we should sleep with them. It's only my personal opinion. Of course, you have to wait until you are fully ready. One of the words of wisdom that I wish that I would have known is, if you are trading sex for the relationship, like meaning, oh, if I sleep with him, then we'll be committed, then maybe you want to take a look at that, because I've done it before and I promise you it never gets you where you want to go. It might temporarily, but it's not a long-term solution, and the cost is just too great. So for me, I had rules about that. But so when it's in the dating phase and it's before that encounter, then it's just about being affectionate, being touchy. You can touch their knee, touch their shoulder, you know, You can cuddle, whatever your boundaries are, of course, own your boundaries. And not in a way of making them bad and wrong, but own your boundaries that you need to be with and that make you the most show up as the most strong and confident woman. As soon as you cancel out your own boundaries, then you're going to not show up as that person and you don't set up the relationship for success. And then in marriage, I have to tell this story because it's such a funny one, but there's this darling little mom and daughter, and the daughter's married, and the mother's been married for 50 years. They have this doting, adorable relationship that her daughter, of course, looks up to. And she calls and she goes, Mom, we're not going to make it to the family party. And I can't remember where I heard this. It was either in a book or a podcast that I'm listening to about learning how to respect my husband. Um, and he says, he goes, or the wife, sorry, I forgot what story I was telling. So the mother goes, Well, what's wrong, honey? Why aren't you coming to the party? And she goes, Well, my husband's mad at me because we haven't had sex in a while. And she goes, Well, why haven't you had sex in a while, honey? She goes, Well, I'm not in the mood. And he just, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it right now, Mom. And she goes, Oh, honey, why on earth would you keep something from your husband that gives him so much joy and takes you so little time? That was a mic drop for me. For me, I've always felt that importance of that physical contact. But if you want to build your husband up, build up his hormones too. So I will talk more about that in another video. But C is consideration. Consider him in the decisions you're making. Consider him in the things that you're doing. Consider his feelings. Consider his thoughts. Consider what he's going through. And in the dating phase, in that first part, just be considerate. Just that gratitude, that appreciation, that asking him what he thinks about things. If you picked the restaurant, asking, "Oh, do you like that? Do you like this restaurant?" You know, asking him what he likes to do. What consideration? You know, I have plenty of girlfriends who think that men are just there to take care of their they're beautiful women, and so they think that they can just be the trophy and that they can, not worry about him. He's just there to take care of her. And that part breaks my heart. And then I have the same where men just are using women for sex. So it goes both ways, but just consideration, the same consideration you'd like, you want them to. Now, as you get into relationship, as you're dating, consider them when you're making these decisions. If this is somebody that you're thinking of having as your life partner, then how do I consider them now? And I'm not saying put your life on hold for them. I'm just saying consider them, talk to them, find out how they feel about things. If you're going on a vacation with your girlfriends, talk to them. They might have insecurities come up or stuff come up for them. If you're not talking to them, going, Hey, I've got this vacation scheduled with my girlfriends and I'm super excited about it, but I also want to know how you feel. Like, just give them a voice. Sometimes just feeling heard is so important. And then consideration when you're married, this one was really hard for me. I was so used to making all of the decisions and all of I just ran with everything. And now, because we're a blended family, I made all the decisions for my daughter. And now it's like coming to him, I sometimes forget of, Hey babe, let me check with my husband first. Let me check with my husband. That's just considering him. That's not, I have to check in with my dad. That is, I value this person and we're a partnership and I'm showing him consideration. All right. And the last one is trust. Now, before I go into this last one, which is so important, I just want to invite you. Now, if these are things that you're struggling with, or if you don't even know how to find a high value man, then I want to invite you on a one-on-one call. And you can click the link below. We can sit down and have a conversation. Now, it's not a hardcore sales pitch. If it is kind of like a first date, we're gonna have a chit chat and find out what's the blocks getting in the way of you having the love that you truly desire, and are you even a good fit for the program? And am I a good fit for helping you to get that? So we can talk about that. All right. So, in the last one, trust. This was one of the biggest things that men said were missing. Now, in the beginning, what that means is they want you to be at your word, do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to show up for a date, show up for a date. Like, who, You know how it feels to feel ghosted. Why would we ever do that to another human being? Have the difficult conversations. If you're not interested, tell them. And you don't have to tell them brutally. Just go, you know what? I absolutely see that you're a great guy, and I just don't feel the way that I want to feel for somebody, and you deserve that. That is such a great way to let them off the hook, and it's true. So, how does it get any better than that? So, just by acknowledging their greatness or their goodness, or, and maybe they're not a great guy. Hey, I'm just not feeling this the way that I want to feel this. And we both deserve somebody that feels it that way. So, I just wanted to let you go. Thank you so much for the time. Gratitude and appreciation, and send them on their way. And thank you next. And so now, as you're in the dating phase, they need to trust you. Be at your word. Tell them what you want, tell them what you need, and hear them what they want, what they need. Be trustworthy. If you're not ready for a relationship, don't get in one. Make sure that you also both know what that definition of relationship is. You both have an owner's manual. And until you guys get to know what that owner's manual is, nobody's bad and wrong. But if you're in a relationship and that man thinks that it's okay to still date other people, but for you that's not okay, then he's not wrong. You just haven't had those difficult conversations of what does a relationship look like. And I'll go more into that on another video of policies and procedures and what relationships look like. But we're way over time, so I just want to say bye. I love you and can't wait till the next time. Bye.